Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren, and we've got another bumper show for you this evening. Now, last week we went down to Kingscliff, probably one of the southernmost clubs in, well, they're in New South Wales. That's how south they are. This time we're going as far north as we can go. And we've got a couple of guys here from Noosa. We've got Matt James and Ben Anson. What an amazing introduction. Hello, guys. So we've got
Hello.
and the senior men's coach with us tonight.
Hello, welcome. How are we doing?
Guys, who's more north, you or Gympie? Gympie. All right. So we'll have to get them on the show at some point just to cross things off. Anyway, all right. So, guys, let's start with you. Let's talk about the Sunshine Coast Premier League. Matt, I'm going to start with you. You're the new technical director this year. Tell us how you came to end up at beautiful Noosa.
Yeah, what a bizarre story. So I was working for my uncle's tour company, just a bit of work on the side while I was doing my coaching, and I met Kevin Ahern-Evans, who's the Sunshine Coast TD, and obviously Prem's coach now as well. And they were on the tour, they were touring. He was like, "Oh, you should come over, do some coaching. You got your badges. They're always desperate for coaches." And I spoke to my uncle, and he said, "Oh, I know some people up in Noosa. You could do a bit of coaching there." Looked on their Facebook, saw they needed TD, so I put my name forward, and yeah, here I am.
And the club that you were at?
I was at Wrexham before, so obviously they're flying. Probably not the best time to leave them, really, but yeah.
There we go, Wrexham. Tell us about, before we get to being here, tell us about your time at Wrexham. Obviously, you're just saying, but before we went to air, that you didn't get to touch Ryan or anything like that.
No, I didn't meet him, and it's a bit of a probably underwhelming setup, I guess, to what you expect. You'd expect all the massive facilities, but they didn't have a training ground, didn't have really a base to work from. A lot of the meetings were done at the racecourse, which is a stadium. But they got some great players and coaches there, and I learned a lot in a pretty shortish period of time. But yeah, very exciting time to be at the club.
Having seen the documentary, you can see the transformation in the first season. I expect, you were there in December, right? So I assume that, you were there halfway during the season. There would have been more development there as well.
Oh yeah, it's incredible from where they were. They were funded by the fans a few years ago, and they kept alive pretty much by people going up the road to the stadium and just dropping off money just to keep them afloat. So now they got up to the Football League, their youth system will get like a massive revenue stream as well from them, and they'll have a games program from under 6 all the way up. So yeah, it's a really exciting time for them. They've got a training ground being built as well, I believe. That's built for them to grow into as well, because obviously they're aiming for the Premier League. There's no point in them building something that's small. They're building something really big that they can grow into as a club.
And the decision to come to Australia, was that hard?
Not really. It's pretty warm. So, yeah.
Just needed that change of scenery, huh?
I needed a tan, mate.
And you've landed on your feet. You've landed at a great club.
Yeah, it's a great club, lovely area. The people really looked after me. So, yeah, can't knock it. And
the standard that you're dealing with compared to back in the UK, how do you rate it?
It's different. Very different. It's bizarrely technical. I think people expect UK to be really technical. I'd say probably the equivalent back home. They're probably not as good technically. They're definitely more game aware. They're definitely more physical. They're bigger lads. They want to win. There's probably a bit more desire to win. I think it's a bit more life or death back home. And there's obviously a lot more games, like Ben touched on before the show. We have 16 rounds, whereas back home that'd be a third of a season.
Yes. Okay. So you're saying that technically we're up to scratch.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the surfaces being fairly good. Obviously, it's sunny, so it's dry. You can cut the grass a bit short, and the ball just moves a bit quicker. That plays into it. I think it looks more technical. The players, yeah, they've got some ability for sure.
Lliam, I'm going. All I heard was the curriculum is working.
Well, that's good to hear, because there's often a lot of people out there that are very, very quick to say that it's not. So for someone that's coming from the outside in, it's pleasing to hear that. But I think no matter who watches this show, I think they'll have other opinions.
Good stuff. All right, Ben. Let's get back to you. The Lions traditionally do really well in the men's league. You're currently sitting in third place with a game in hand on Caloundra, who are 7 points ahead. Are you still a chance?
Realistically, optimistically. Look, I realistically, I don't think so. But like, football's a funny game. This has been a very funny league. It was only 2 weeks ago we're going, and wouldn't it be good if Gympie in last place would do us a favour and take some points off Caloundra, and they walked out with a 3-3 draw, and annoyingly we walked out with a 0-0 draw. We've been masters of our own demise really this season, where we dropped silly points throughout the year and walked off the pitch and just gone, how the bloody hell that happened? And then there's been other games where, when we did face Caloundra last time, was another funny game where we were 5-0 up at half time and went, how the bloody hell that happened? So, and I think everyone throughout this year, like, I've spoken to quite a few other coaches, it's like, how did that happen? How did that happen? Time and time again. So, but I don't think we can, but football's a funny game.
Yeah. Now, with Maroochydore stepping up, moving up into the pyramid, you had a 9-team competition this year.
Yep.
How did that play out for you?
Like we said just before the show, it's kind of like to have 16 games in a season is just, I think, silly. I think everyone's begging for a third round, even though we've got a bit of an injury crisis there at the moment. To have 16 games, it's one of those that you've really got 2 games being 1 loss and 1 draw, and your season's now a question mark. So, that's all you can really afford to drop.
Yeah. Now, Noosa have always been, I mean, if you haven't won the league, you've been there or thereabouts. Why is Noosa so traditionally strong in this league?
I think that came down from when Kev stepped in. Before that, I've been a part of the senior setup as like, I'm only 34. I've been a part of playing senior since I was 16. And, in my early days, we were a mid-table club and never really kind of fought for much. And then, was it 7 or 8 years ago, I stepped in as a Resi's coach, and we got Kev in, and everything changed. Players came, the quality stepped up, the quality of the club stepped up. Our junior setup was phenomenal. Our under-23s team that Matt's taken on board this year are undefeated and already won the league with 5 games to spare. And they're all, 21 and under. So we've had a really good junior setup come through, and it's just kind of flowing on. The oldest player that stepped on the pitch in Prems this year has been myself at 34. Other than that, the next oldest is 28. So, we've had a really good youth setup come through over the years, and it's just kind of flowed.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we had a big chat last week about the strength of the Gold Coast League. Now, with in the Sunshine Coast, we've got the Wanderers, we've got the Fire, and now we've got Maroochydore in the NPL system. Let's say Caloundra win the league, or Woombye win the league, or even you guys, would you accept that place to go up into the ladder? Do you think you have the strength to compete, considering how Maroochydore have gone this year?
No. At this stage where we are, I don't think we have the funding to be able to compete as well. You look at some of the clubs that are down there and the facilities they have, and the sponsorship side of things that they bring in is just phenomenal. We don't have that. And Maddie and I have spoken about this before. It would take a lot for us, I think. The players that we do have, there's potential there, but I don't think we would have necessarily the depth to be able to be competitive. I think realistically, we'd be seeing ourselves back down straight up. I think that also goes from from where we sit we're that far north of Brisbane and everywhere else. It's hard to get players as well that will want to travel up this way to play. So, and there's only so many backpackers that hang around until July.
Right. So you've been fortunate in the backpacker stakes, have you?
In years gone by, we've had some world-class players come through the doors.
That's brilliant. And so I just noticed looking at the ladder that Kawana, now they're one of those clubs where you talk to them about moving up the ladder and they just go, no, we are a community club. We know our place. This is our league. But I noticed that Brad Lloyd's got the team fired up at the right time of the season looking for a grand final win again.
Kawana typically look at the clock and go, finals are coming up, boys. We better actually do something. And next thing you know, they're there and everyone else looks and goes, shit. So, yeah, we've all, I think there's a few of us that have sat back and gone, oh, geez, I hope Kiwanis don't make the finals. But it's year on year because they are final specialists. They live for it. So they live for the big occasion and the big day and our Rezzies faced Kawana in the grand final last year in under 23s, and just for their 23s, the support was just phenomenal. Like everyone was there, so they lived for the day.
And Ben,
and good on them.
With Woombai have 2 games in hand, and if they win both those games, they go back on top. If Noosa are unable to win the league, who do you fancy out of Woombai and Caloundra?
Caloundra having the bye last round doesn't help them, and I'd like to say that Woombai having us in the last round doesn't help them. So I can't even remember who Woombai have. They've got Gympie, us, and someone else. I can't even remember who it is that they've got. And that's a hard one. I'd like to say Caloundra, they've been the favourites the whole way through, through the whole season. But if we face them next, so we could be the pain in their side there.
Yeah, the kingmakers effectively.
Maybe.
Yes, interesting. All right, Lliam, have you got a quick question for these guys?
Oh, just in regards to Caloundra FC, and again harping back to the discussions that we had last week. Would they be confident in going up, and do you think they would have the capabilities to stay up?
Where they geologically sit on the Sunshine Coast, yeah, I personally think that they are the only club that could have the potential.
So,
yeah.
So it isn't diluted like last week. We were talking that a lot of the clubs on the Gold Coast and out here out of Ipswich, and that it's very diluted because there's so many clubs and so many options. Whereas so Caloundra's are pretty much on their own there, are they?
Well, from Caloundra, it's only half hour, 45 minutes to North Lakes. It's further for anyone in Caloundra to drive up here to Noosa than it is to go to North Lakes. So to be able to reach out to Brisbane-based players is, I think, a lot easier. It would be a lot easier for them. You've got Caboolture that's just down the road. There's plenty of quality players that are there. Obviously North Lakes, all that kind of area. So, and even further, people that do work up, say, Sunny Coast way from Brizzy, etc. So I think they'd get a lot better pull from those kinds of areas for players, and whatever funding they get in terms of sponsorship. I believe Caloundra RSL put a lot of money into them as well, and probably something else they could draw on a bit further. So I think, as I said, geologically speaking, they on the map, they would be the only ones that I think personally could go up and stay up.
So if the question was asked, they would definitely say yes, we're coming up, because it was pretty heated last week with regards to clubs that get that promotional spot, but then they get promoted, and the next season they go like, oh no, actually no, we don't want to do this, and then it just screws the whole season up. And now you got clubs coming up that didn't want to come up, it was.
I'd like Noosa to go up and to stay up. I really would, and I'd like to be a part of it all, because that's progression. That's what if it is viable for the club and financially viable for the club, you'd be silly not to. But I think everyone's kind of looked at Maroochydore this year and learned a bit of a lesson. I deal with one of the guys from Maroochydore through work, and we chat about it quite a bit.
Yep.
And it's cost them a lot of money. They haven't necessarily lost out financially from what they've told me, but they know their place. From what I've heard is that they know their place as well. It will be community club, Sunny Coast football, and is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of lattes that you've got to sell on the strip there, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. Hastings Street prices just got dearer.
That's it. Matt, I want to bring you back in and talk about the Women's League in the Sunshine Coast. Another great competition, 3 points between the top three. Noosa again in third place.
Yeah, they're doing great, mate. And I've got Ollie here now, who's the women's coach.
Oh, timing!
How good? How you guys
going?
Good? Yeah, that's it. No, the girls are doing really well. We had a bit of a slow start, just obviously completely new team, our first year being back in the Premier Women's system. So it did take a couple of weeks. I think we lost the first 4 in a row maybe. But then we kind of got into a bit of an easier fixture list, and I don't know, it's just got better. We kind of done a couple bonding, and it's a good mix between senior girls, those 30-year-olds, and then the young, energetic 22, 23-year-olds. So it's the team camaraderie, I think, is the word we've been using. It's really good right now. So we're enjoying it.
Now, is this a 21-round competition?
Oh, is it? I don't know. We got 4 left. That's all I know.
Yeah, so that'll be 21 rounds. So the women are actually playing 5 more rounds than the men.
Right. Yeah, because we're doing the 3 games, aren't we? As Benny was saying.
Yeah.
Double. So yeah, there you go.
Interesting stuff. All right. So we've got Maroochydore on top on 39, BG's on 38, yourselves on 37. Who are you most worried about out of the other 2 clubs?
Oh, neither, mate. Neither. Where
Good answer.
It is a great answer. No, honestly, I think if you asked me that question at the start of the season, I would have said both very good teams. They've both got a lot of good players, and also it helps in this league with having 1 or 2 players which are above the standard of the rest of them. And both of those teams have a couple of girls where you're like, yeah, you probably could play at a higher level, MPL or whatever else. So honestly, either one, even Mumbai, same thing. I think all 3 of us or 4 of us are quite good, but I think we're on an 8 winning streak. We've beaten all the top teams now, so we're just going to keep rolling. We got Maroochydore this weekend, so we'll knock them off, and we'll be looking good, mate.
There you go. That'll get you on top, assuming that BGs don't get the win.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we're praying. Never know.
Woo. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, tell us about the depth in this competition. You mentioned there that you've got each club's got a couple of players that could take the step up. Is the fact that when you play in the MPLW that you've got that journey, that the distance that you've got to travel, is that a reason why you've got a lot of players that are sticking to this league?
Yeah, well, just going from my team, well, Noosa's team, obviously it's that extra hour as well, if you were, say, living in Cali. So I know for a fact that I know at least 2 of them they used to play MPL women's, blah, 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 but they were just so over the travel. They even had to have a year off just because it is consuming. And even myself, I've done the whole Brizzy trips, blah, blah, blah throughout the year. And it is tough by the end. That middle to the end of the season is tough. So I think they just enjoy training, 20 minutes away, 10 minutes away from their home, going home and playing home games every second night. It's good. So yeah, I think that is the main reason.
Yeah. Not everyone aspires to be a pro, do they?
That's it. Very, very.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you very much, guys. We might leave the Sunshine Coast chat there. That's probably the longest chat we've ever had about the Sunny Coast League. So fantastic. Thanks for that, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Stick around and feel free to jump in on the MPL chats and all the other leagues that we discuss as well. Gold Coast Knights, 40 points. Gold Coast United, 35 points. We've got 4 matches left. Is the league done?
Look, I think yes. I think more or less. I think those 2 clubs have really been the standout this season, haven't they? It's just been fantastic to see them perform so well. It's good to see Gray have a little bit of a comeback as well after his dramas you had with Knights as well. And yeah, it's good to see. I think, unfortunately, I think for Olympic, they ran out of time. They ran out of games. I think they'll be going down to rebuild. It'd be a shame to see East go down too after all the amount of effort that they've put into to get up into that top league. So yeah, I think you can more or less settle on that top four now. I think, yeah.
And Wanderers getting the win on the weekend means that Olympic are now 10 points behind in the relegation zone.
Yeah, look, I saw that result. I never saw the game, but I saw the result, and yeah, I just knew right there and then. It's like, oh, there's no chance now for them. You know, it's just they're going hard lesson to learn though, isn't it? Really, I mean, they had all their full intention to do well at the start of the season, as all clubs do. But to see that someone the size of Olympic just you know, falter like the way they did, it's just I guess that's football, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, to our sunny coast guys, I hope you're still there. I know that Ben's gone, but hopefully the other guys are still there. Do you guys support the Wanderers, support the Fire, support none of them?
I'll start. I played at Fire last year, and I'm actually at Wanderers right now. So I guess I'm a bit of a traitor, but I'm Wanderers fan now, I'd say.
But do you find that the clubs are all will support one or both of the two, and it's a collective Sunshine Coast effort?
Me personally, I'd say I'd support both. I can say I look at each scores obviously I'll look at my own Wanderers, but I look at Fires every week to see how they're going, and obviously I've still got a whole heap of friends there playing. So yeah, I think it is, but then there are some people that Fire did have a bit of that negative couple years where, you know, couple coach breakdowns, blah blah blah, stuff like that, where it kind of hindered their I don't know what the word is, but reputation, I guess. But I think it's getting back, and you know, they've got their academy going now, so I think it's starting to become more of a Sunny Coast, like let's support Sunny Coast teams instead of just Wanderers or just Fire. Or so yeah.
And the Wanderers doing okay in the women. Mid-table obscurity is theirs in 6th place. They won't be going down. So pretty good season for the girls there, considering struggles over recent years.
Yeah. I'm not completely in with the Wanderers women's, but yeah, they seem to be going well. They got a couple good players in there, and yeah, they're not getting relegated, which is always a bonus, and they'll push on for next year, I reckon.
Good stuff. All right. Now we've got James Coutts from Logan Lightning who's going to be joining us shortly. So in the meantime, we're going to do a little switch through and have a chat to some of our other guests that we've got here who've been waiting very patiently. Oh, geez, do we go Fiore? Do we go Neil? Let's go with Fiore. Fiore, you are the coach of Samford Rangers. Great to have you with us. How are you going? Oh, there he is.
Did you hear me before?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Good, mate. Season going reasonably well.
Reasonably
not
well.
Finished yet. Yeah.
I think it's going extremely well, I would suggest. You're 4 points on top of the ladder with 4 rounds to go. You'd take that at the beginning of the season, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely take that. I probably wanted to get into the top 4 this season at the beginning. But it's just been, girls have been, you know, they've gelled really, really well. We had sort of the Samford girls from last year. Majority of them, sort of the decent ones, hung around. They only brought one of them over from North Brisbane.
Yes, we did you a disservice on that a few weeks ago, didn't we? We said that you might have taken a few over, but it was just the one.
Well, one from the top team and one from reserve grade, but the one from the top team is probably the best 2 players of the league, so I'm happy about that one if I was going to get anyone.
It's a handy grab.
Yes. And then just a couple of other players that didn't play last year that sort of got some interest, lived nearby, and we created a sort of team. So
And
yeah,
you're
so
basing it all on the culture that you've been able to develop and the bond between the players.
yeah, I guess I've got good assistant in Justin Kilshaw. He's won sort of Premier Leagues and whatnot with the men. So he's been a good help. Yeah, what do you say? At the beginning of the season, we had 22 players for both teams, and the Metro team had about 15 players, and only 17 were registered from ours. You know how they are at the beginning of the season. No one wants to get their ass into gear. And so I approached the Metro girls and said, look, because they only had 15 and 3 and 4 of them were going to, be away for long periods of time during the season. And one was just the backpacker and they would have struggled. So I've sort of encouraged them to come up to play the under 23s. Of course, they all sort of went, no, I'm not going up playing there and this and that. But I sort of introduced them to some friendly games at the beginning of the season to show them. And they went, oh, yeah, because I really think the under 23s comp in that league, in our league, and probably FQPL 3 is similar to a Metro 2, Metro 1, Metro 3 league.
Okay.
So they're about 8th at the moment, the under 23s. So they're not doing too bad. And they're the core. That's what made us successful, I guess. If without 35 players, you can't run 2 teams. So just on them girls stepping up and whatnot, we formed the FQPL 3 and we went without a Metro this year, in hoping next year we can sort of grow on that and touch wood. We won't count our chickens, but girls really want it more than I, which is fantastic. So we'll see what happens there, Darren.
So you've got a 4-point lead with 4 matches to go. Who have you got this weekend?
Bethania away, and then we have North Star at home. Then we have second place Toowong away, which will be
so that's your decider.
Probably the decider. If we both win both our next games, Toowong will win the next one. They're playing Ipswich at home. And then they play Southside Eagles away, which is a tricky one when we play North Star at home. So if they drop points there and we can get our 2 wins. So we play the Friday night against North Star and they'll play Saturday night. So be a good if we can get the 2 games done. It'll be good to get out there and watch that one and go Southside Eagles.
Put some pressure on. Yeah, good stuff.
So yeah.
Right, thanks for that, Fiore. Now,
no problem, Dad.
Let's move on now back to the actually it's still FQPL. No, not FQPL. It's the FQPL. What's your league, Neil?
Yeah, it's the FQPL 5 league.
Neil Symes from Old Bridge.
Thank you for having me.
We've been talking about Old Bridge over the past couple of years, and we've finally got someone on the show. Neil, what are you guys all about? Who is Old Bridge?
Okay, so they've obviously for many, many years played in, I think it's now called the Q League, the Multicultural League, based around the Brisbane Bosnian community. Only last year got the license for FQPL 6, and obviously I was the assistant coach last year and this year, and we've been able to sort of galvanize a pretty good side. First year we got promoted to FQPL 5. It's been a little bit of a challenge, obviously, going up the next run of the pyramid this year with a lot of injuries in the start of the season, which made us a little bit inconsistent. But on the back end, we're starting to hit our straps with 5 wins in a row.
5 wins in a row, eh?
Yeah.
But probably leaving you run a little bit too late, given that you're 8 points behind Barden and Yeronga.
You got to believe.
Oh, I love it.
Now, tell us a story about the budget there, Neil. We've heard some stories.
That's definitely not my forte. I was never an accountant myself. So that's I'll leave that to the accounts department. But obviously, we have a lot of good players from all over south side of Brisbane, especially, and it's a good mix of young lads and more experienced lads like Naseeb, Omri, and that. So yeah,
good stuff. How did you get involved with the club?
Yeah, so I was coaching a Q League side in 2001 and finished up there and saw that they got the license and just put in the FOI, and they rang me up and I came on board and I've been there ever since.
Good stuff. Lliam, before I throw in a few more questions, have you got something there?
No, mate, I'm happy learning. I don't know anything about FC Old Bridge, so it's
best Shavapi in Brisbane.
The best what?
Shavapi, which is the Bosnian food. Yeah.
All right. Oh, I'm sure. Sure.
Right. So we need to get you guys in the same league as St. George.
They've played Metro League this year, and that was a good battle. Yeah.
Good stuff. So you reckon that Chavapis are better at Old Bridge than at St. George, hey?
That's what I've been told by the whole Bosnian community in Brisbane, mate.
Well, I'm going to have to get myself to Old Bridge, because if they're better than the ones at St. George, they must be pretty darn good.
Well, the open invitations for our last game on Sunday at home.
Good stuff. Well, you guys were at Salisbury, is that right?
Correct, yes.
Out where okay. Now tell us about the season. You mentioned that you've had a few struggles, but you're coming home with a wet sail.
Yeah, so really we've had a lot of injury plague our top team throughout the year. Obviously, then we'd had to get 2 or 3 signings just before the cutoff date. For a couple of games, we actually were playing with a keeper that had never been goalkeeper. That's how bad some of the injury we had in the middle of the season. We've been able to get a decent goalkeeper in Yakamol, and we're hitting our straps right at the right time of the season.
All right, you're still 8 points behind though, so that's a big concern. You're in the Noosa situation. You're just a little bit far back that it might be a little bit out of reach. Out of Yeronga and Barden, who do you think have been the better team this season?
They both have their strengths. Obviously, Barden is coached by a very, very good coach, very good tactical coach, and Yeronga, they're always up for the battle with Old Bridge, because obviously the history between both clubs coming out of the Q League at the same time into FQPL 6 and then move up as well. So it's a robust and friendly rivalry between our club and Yeronga. But if I would take, just looking at the results and obviously also the run earlier this year in the Australia Cup, you've got to probably say it's Yeronga.
And who have you got this weekend?
Narangba.
Narangba, okay.
So we've
got a side that
Narangba.
have stabilised themselves a bit this year. They look like they could have things could have gone pear-shaped, but they've managed to keep it together.
Yeah, and when we played them up in Narangba, I think we were 2-1 up with 5 minutes to go, and they just got the momentum after getting a equaliser and pipped us at the last minute.
Good stuff. All right, Neil, thank you very much for the chat there.
Thank
We've
you.
got one more guest, and then we'll talk a little bit more generally. We've got James Coutts from Logan Lightning. G'day, James.
Hey, how are you guys?
Yeah, good. All right, we've been trying to get the guests from all the really close leagues, and the FQPL is no exception. You're currently in third place. We've got all the third place teams tonight. In third place on 36 points, 4 points behind Surfers Apollo. But that promotion place, it's tantalisingly close, right?
Yeah, no, it's very close. Obviously, ourselves and Wolves had a good hit out last Friday night, and yeah, close game. And obviously, both teams wanted to go for the 3 points, but yeah, it was a good contest there. Surfers have been very consistent throughout most of the season. Their front line is, I think is, to be fair, the best in the comp. They're very good going forward and some good strike power there. But now we'll keep going. We've got 4 games and 4 massive games left. So starting this Sunday, and hopefully we can get a result and see where it takes us.
Who have you got this weekend?
We're away at Western Pride on Sunday. So yeah, good one.
Lliam, you can get your sledges in now, mate.
Yeah, I'll definitely be out of that game there at Briggs Road for sure. I mean, Pride are very close to probably Pippin Strikers as well to get into that in their last final spot. I mean, Strikers they've had a few disappointing results over the last few weeks, so that top 4 is not set yet. And you got Thunder as well; they're on a bit of a roll. So that top 4 is not set.
James, was promotion the goal this season?
Yeah, obviously after last year coming down, and the way we came down was obviously tough for us to take, given that we were 10 points clear of 10 points clear of safety. So that was a tough one, but that's what it is. But yeah, now the goal was definitely to try and push and be in the top half. Because we only had 4 players from last year's squad start the season, with myself being one of them. So it was a massive overhaul of players, and yeah, we've got a close group. So we've got a very close group. We've had a few little struggles like everyone does throughout the season, but getting a goal scorer has been a big one for us. Having Brandon Reeves was a big signing for us in the off season, and he played 4 games before he had to retire. Then we signed Jed Brown back in the transfer window, and he's played 10 minutes and he's out for the season. So we've had a couple of struggles up top and scoring goals, but no, we definitely want to be in that top part and be kicking on to try and get back into NPL.
Your phone bill must have been out of control at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, mate. We were definitely trying to recruit a certain type of player and person like everybody, and it's tough. It's very tough, and it was one this year was tougher, I think, than any previous off season I've experienced. Coming down from NPL, you certainly want a type of player, and a lot of those in the off season can shop themselves around, and they all want to play as high as possible, which I understand. So it was it was tough, but we managed to get a good group of boys in together, and we've kept a core group of that throughout the whole season. And in the mid season we've added. So now you can see the depth in the squad is better than what was the first part of the season. So hopefully we can kick on the last 4 games and see how we go.
Are you surprised that Wolves and Surfers Paradise have done as well as they have?
No, not when I understand obviously coming up and then going again, but with the firepower that those guys have got and the front lines that they've got in this league, if you get goal scorers in, which they've got with obviously Wolves having Connor and Megka and now bringing Current Waters in, and then like Surfers have got 3 of the top 4 or 5 strikers in the league, goal scorers in their team. So one of them are always on the bench. It's frightening what they've got. So now going forward, they're both very strong sides. Obviously we knew, because Toowoomba turned us over last week. We played up at Toowoomba early on in the season, and the position you could tell was false. Like, they're a very good team. They commit, they get bodies forward, they're very good going forward. And we always spoke about it was only a matter of time before they turned someone over. It was just unfortunately us. But they're a team who can definitely kick on, and I think are a top side. And obviously strikers are, they went hard at it throughout early part of the season. But some good teams, but Surfers and Wolves, for me, Surfers in particular, I think are a very strong side.
Lliam, are you surprised that strikers are in fourth place?
Not really. I mean, my feeling towards strikers at the moment is that they're all pretty much smile and wave. They're all very much in your face, but they've signed this and they've signed that, and they're doing this and they're doing that. They're all about the Women's World Cup. They're very much in your face with as a club on the socials, and we're doing this and we're doing that. But at the end of the day, the results aren't backing anything up. They're not getting the results that they need to get to the top. And look, I think all those teams, like those clubs that have been in the FQPL1, like Pride and Thunder, probably even Fire, Mitchelton, unfortunately will probably go down. They're the ones that have kind of been in that FQPL1, just kind of floating there. You know, like are they going to make it? What are their signings going to be like? Are they going to get better signings? Are they going to get better results? You know, and you got Service Paradise and Wolves that have just come straight up. They've got ambition. They know what they're doing. They've got fantastic backing, fantastic players, and they're going to go up again. There's something in that FQPL one there where teams are comfortable. Strikers are doing all they can, making all these signings, but it's just not working for them. So there's something in this FQPL one here that's just that, you know, they just need to do better. I think all of them, the whole lot of them. But it's very, very sad to see Logan come down last season. I was one of the many people that were very, you know, very annoyed at the situation, and they didn't deserve to come down. You know, so I don't know if I'm just waffling now, probably, but no, I think strikers. I'm not surprised at all. I just think that they haven't got the results that they need, and I think that all comes back to the fact that they're just not good enough.
James, do you play Caboolture again before the season ends?
No, we played Caboolture twice. We've got Pride Capalaba, and we've got Surfers before Mitchie last up. So yeah, we've been to Caboolture twice. Or we played Caboolture twice, yeah.
All right. The one bit of gossip that I have from your league is that Royce Brownlee is back.
Yeah, I think he's been back a few weeks now. Yeah.
Yeah, and back at Caboolture. So that's their fifth manager in the past 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. It's good facilities up there. So got great facilities up there.
If they didn't get the results at the start of the season that they had, like they were doing pretty good at the start of the season. They had a ton of confidence. They were playing well. They knocked Pride off a few times, and they've just sunk. I think if they didn't get the results they did at the start of the season, they'd be in a lot of trouble right now as well to go down.
Yeah, they got some good boys up there. They got some good like individual players up there. But like you say, I find this competition that it really is anybody can beat anybody. Obviously, Mitchie have struggled, but that middle pack in there, we've had games against some teams, and we found it a lot easier than maybe other games. Like we've played Toowoomba at their place, and as I say, it's such a tough game. And other games have been a little bit more comfortable in the middle pack, and then you see them go up against each other. And the team you think might struggle go and put 3-4 past a team who have done really well. So I think it's quite, the consistency in this league is massively important. And that's what, like I say, the top teams have done week in, week out, grinded out results, not lost a lot of games. I think all three of us have only lost 2 games all season. That's important because you're not always going to play out your best, but to grind results out and keep that momentum going has been really important.
I mean, between 5th with Pride there on 26 points, and Fire there down in 9th on 21 points. So really, you know, I mean, I'm saying before that the top 4 is not really set, and it's not. I mean, Pride could go on a bit of a losing streak. Fire could find something and come up. You just don't know. It's going to be very interesting last quarter of the season.
All right. We might talk about just quickly run through the rest of the leagues before we wrap up the show. Brisbane City in the FQPL Women, the Premiers, having won 16 out of 16. They're on 48 points. Logan Lightning have just slipped into 4th place there with a win on the weekend. Good to see that. FQPL 2, Broadbeach United still haven't lost a game. 18 from 18. Not much else to chat about there. Grange Thistle in 3rd. Magic have moved into 4th place in that competition. FQPL 2 women, North Lakes United wrapped up the league on the weekend. They now have a 9-point lead over Ipswich Knights. Moving to the...
Darren, can I just jump in here?
Yes.
Just mention FQPL 2 women. Western Pride women in FQPL 1 have had a good couple of wins over the last few weeks, and they've actually, I reckon, they've definitely secured. I think they've secured the playoff spot there between Pride, and I think if Knights stay where they are in the 2nd place, it could very well be a local derby to see who stays in the FQPL 1 women, or who goes up, or Pride go down. So that'll be one to watch as well.
Good stuff. Having a look now at the South Coast men, Southport have now got a 5-point lead over Urbina in that league after the weekend's results. So Southport looking really good now. Broadbeach United, their under-21s are in top place in the FQPL 4, with Ormo making their big move. They're in 2nd place now. Good stuff, Nathan. I think Gold Coast Knights women in the FQPL South Coast 3 have wrapped up the competition there. And on the Darling Downs, some great competitions there as well. St Albans have a 1-point lead over Willowburn and Rockville. Willowburn have a game in hand though, and that's against Bottom Highfield. So that catch-up game could decide the competition there. But fantastic in a 6-team league. There's 1 point between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And West Wanderers in 4th place are just another 2 points behind. So great competition there. In the women, Willowburn, we've been talking about Highfield's holding on to the lead. Willowburn have caught them and are in front on goal difference. All right, so that's our wrap up of the leagues. Guys, I want to bring everyone back in, and I want to talk about the Women's World Cup. What have you made of it? Are you going to the game tomorrow? Has your club been touched by the cup?
Well, I'm loving every minute of it. I'm here, there, and everywhere. I was down in Sydney last week. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm flying down to Melbourne as well. I'm going to the England-Haiti game. I'm going to France-Brazil. France-Brazil game on Saturday night is going to be an absolute corker. We've seen Brazil play over during the last week. They looked on point. For me, the competition at the moment has got to be between Brazil, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain. Spain, they're two games. I don't know whether it's because of the opposition that they've had. I'm not sure, but just watching them play with their structure and their passing, it's crisp and it's quick and it's purposeful. And so, of course, I want the Matildas to be in there, but we've only seen them one game, and they hadn't quite got to their full potential yet. And of course, we've lost Mary Fowler for tomorrow night as well, and there was another player as well,
Louis.
So it's I'm loving it. I've got Optus Sport on at home whenever I'm awake. I'm not on night shift or whatever, and it's fantastic to see the crowds there. I mean, 25,000 here. There, you got 30,000. You can potentially get 50,000 at Suncorp or Lang Park tomorrow night. 75,000 there in Sydney last week. It's fantastic. That's the most amount of people I've seen there at the Olympic Stadium, even when I'm going to watch the Socceroos play. So I'm loving it. Loving every minute of it.
Liam, you don't win the World Cup in week 1, mate. You've got to build into the competition.
No, you do not. I know. But you can tell the teams that have come out of the blocks well and purposeful. Sure, I mean the likes of Australia and Canada, who are both in our group, who are very good teams on their day. They haven't shown much, obviously, in their first game, but I think if we don't show something against Nigeria tomorrow, we don't show some sort of a fight there tomorrow. I'm not sure how we're going to go for the rest of the competition, to be honest. And it kills me to say that.
So, guys, tell us about your clubs. Have you? I don't think any of you are hosting any teams at the moment, but as the competition has Has it had
Well,
any dealing with your club?
all I know is yeah, all I know. Can you hear me, Daz?
Yes,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah. All I know is sorry guys. That half of my team are going Thursday night, so I had to can training. But yeah, I got fortunately enough, I'm going to the France Brazil on Saturday night at Suncorp. Yeah, it's been good. We the first game, the girls after training, we finished training early and went into the club and put the match on, and we all sat there and cheered the girls home. Yeah, first game. You know, I don't know what to say. Germany sharp, Spain sharp, USA, and the Mighty Matildas. There you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that can win it at the moment, as
Yeah.
far as I can see.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about the guys up at Noosa? Is there any World Cup fever up there?
Are you listening? Boys at
Yeah, they're on
Noosa.
mute. Noosa!
Yeah.
What about you, James? What about Logan being a little bit closer to the action?
Yeah, I know that Scotty was saying, our women's coach, a lot of the girls are there tomorrow night, obviously supporting. I think the club were doing I'm sure they're doing a party for one of the games and having all the junior girls in to watch one of the games as a group. So yeah, certainly within the women's program, the girls program, there's a lot of excitement about all, which is great, and it's only good for girls football in here, which is going to be fantastic for years to come.
Good stuff. What about you, Neil?
Yeah, obviously where our club is based is actually around the corner from the Matildas training camp. So that's pretty good. But looking at like the crowds and that, I think it just shows that Australia is ready to actually host a men's World Cup as well into the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you get the world's best in any competition in Australia, people generally will turn out for it, won't they?
Yeah, but I have to admit, some of those lesser countries have impressed me. Like I was at the England-Haiti game, and they just fought for the whole 90 minutes. And really, there was actually 2 really good saves from England, or it could have been a banana skin game.
Yeah, definitely. And Jamaica put on a show as well.
Correct.
Yeah, against France. Yeah. That was a good game. That.
Mm.
Sure, I think Shaw got she got sent off at right at the end there.
Yeah. All right, we might wrap it up there. Suffice to say that we'll give a shout out to Hull Tenders, who's on top of the tipping competition at the moment, on 14 points. There's another about 1 point behind, and I'm about 4 points behind. I'm closer to the bottom of the ladder than I am the top. So, oh well. Anyway, that's our show for this week. Get out to a game this weekend. If you're not going to the World Cup, get out to your local club and get that money into those canteens and buy those chips. Everyone loves chips, don't they?
Chips.
All right, that's the show. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
And we'll finally stop it. There we go.